Hello there, Huskies, and welcome to ABCD, a fundamental philosophy in service at Northeastern University. Before we dive into the philosophy, we want to share a quick story about a pair of Northeastern Huskies, Bork and Woofy. Bork and Woofy were two Huskies who met during orientation week and had continued to be friends during their first semester. During the first few weeks of living in Boston, they noticed the severity of homelessness in the area surrounding the school. Wanting to address this issue, Bork and Woofy gathered together a group of other motivated Huskies and they put together lunch bags to donate to homeless shelters. They excitedly made tuna fish sandwiches and packed them into brown paper bags with apples, and then found a nearby shelter to deliver these. But they were not met by the same enthusiasm by the homeless shelters. The shelter turned down the sandwiches because they felt that the tuna would spoil too quickly and the sandwiches were just duplicating the efforts of the volunteers who were already helping to make and serve food on a weekly basis. Oftentimes, students volunteer with local community organizations for class credit, university hours, and to engage civically with the community that they reside in. But it's not uncommon for students to come in with assumptions about the community that they work with. These assumptions are often a result of traditional perspective on community service, which is that volunteers are coming to help and save those in need. We call this the deficit perspective. Why? Well, this perspective focuses on what the community lacks and charts gaps that need to be filled. Bork and Woofy were working from a deficit perspective to address the issue of homelessness. Their solution emphasized failure and helplessness and created a dependency on outside help. They had assumed that there were no efforts being made on the community's part to address this issue and wanted to insert their own solutions without consulting anyone first. While understanding and recognizing deficits is important, assumptions that the populations we are serving have nothing and that literally anything we do will help is not the perspective we want to use. It doesn't leave room for the community voice to be heard. Bork and Woofy decided to reassess their efforts and instead researched some local organizations that worked with homeless population in Boston, like Pine Street Inn, or Horizons for Homeless Children, or community surveys. They learned about the ways in which the issue was already being addressed by the members of the local community and reorganized their group of eager Huskies to volunteer regularly at these organizations instead. This alternative approach to the deficit-based perspective is called ABCD, or Asset-Based Community Development. The concept of ABCD focuses on highlighting existing strengths or assets. It emphasizes that development and change come from within a community and is not driven primarily by the people outside of it. Bork and Woofy were now complementing the efforts of those who had an established history of fighting homelessness in Boston and contributing in a moral and ethical manner. Assets in a community are not limited to just organizations. They can be people with skill sets and knowledge, green spaces like parks and rivers, local institutions like community centers, and religious institutions. As you start your service, keep aware and try to identify these assets. You should try your best to consciously reflect on how your strengths could best complement them.